It's a new year and the 12 days of Christmas have reached their end. But in Turkey, this day, January 6th, has more meaning than this. It is the day when villages in Turkey would celebrate a night very similar to Halloween, with their own winter witches as the stars of the show. This is the story of the Bocuk Winter Witches and Bocuk Night. Starting back in the Middle Ages, the village of Samlika performed a ritual dedicated to the longest, coldest, and most intense night of winter, which according to the Turks took place on January 6th. It was believed that this cold winter night, called Bocuk Night, would unleash a family of winter witches that were also called Bocuk, with Bocuk wife, Bocuk mother, and Bocuk grandfather. According to the legend, this family of ghost-like witches would sneak into barns housing cows that recently gave birth to baby calves. They would then drain the mother cow of all her milk, which would also prevent the mother from ever producing milk again. They would also wander the streets on Bocuk Night, searching for victims trying to walk through the deep snow and harsh blizzards that came with this night. Once a potential victim was spotted, one of the witches would climb onto the person's back and weigh them down until they collapsed from a combination of cold and the weight of the witch. This would be followed by the victim freezing to death in the night. Fortunately, the people have one defense against the Bocuk witches that a lot of you watching will probably love: pumpkins. More specifically, pumpkin desserts. Pumpkins are considered winter squash and grow natively in Turkey. The belief is that if you left a pumpkin dessert out on the roof of your barn during Bocuk Night, the Bocuk witches would eat that instead and leave your cows alone. Also, if you eat a pumpkin dessert yourself on Bocuk Night, the Bocuk witches will leave you alone even if they spot you walking around. Just make sure the dessert is actually made from pumpkins instead of artificial flavors. Villages in Turkey carry on the tradition of Bocuk Night by making sure there's a huge selection of pumpkin desserts for people to eat to protect themselves from the winter witches. But also like Halloween, some people in the villages dress up as the witches and go door to door scaring people. The Bocuk witches were believed to resemble humans draped in white sheets with pale white faces. So people on Bocuk Night paint their faces white, throw on white sheets, they'll walk all over town knocking on doors and cars screaming, "Bocuk is coming! Bocuk is coming!" Initially it was done as a warning to make sure citizens all stayed inside with their pumpkin desserts to survive the cold and spooky night. Nowadays, it's done as more of a fun thing to scare people with stories of the Bocuk witches and encourage people to stay in with their families and enjoy pumpkin desserts together. That's really what Bocuk Night has become about now. Not so much the Bocuk witches, but about community and togetherness. Because part of the belief is that the witches target people who are walking alone, but not the people who are staying warm together eating their pumpkin desserts. So if you ever take a trip to Turkey in early January, especially to the village of Samlika, make sure you take the time to try as many of the local Turkish pumpkin desserts as you can. And watch out for people dressed as the Bocuk witches who will try to scare you. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for more Halloween content and watch some of these past videos surrounding the best holiday of the year. Have a happy new year and start planning for this year's Halloween!